All right, Kevin, back with you for another episode of the Million Dollar Relationships Podcast. And today I am here with my friend Josh Turner. Josh, welcome, man.
Hey, Kevin, good to be here.
Yeah, good. And I'll tell you, I know we were talking before we hit the record button, but you and I got to catch up recently, and we hadn't talked in quite a while before that. But that's the cool thing about relationships is when you got a connection with somebody like you and I do, we just like pick up right where we left off, no matter how long ago.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. Well, what we'll do, let's start off with just kind of talking a little bit about what you do, who you serve, what motivates you to do what you do, and just kind of give everybody a little bit of context on who Josh Turner is and what you're all about, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Connect 365, and we help small businesses to generate leads and get clients. So we have developed a methodology that's unique to our business that centers around email marketing and social media outreach and a specific type of social media content strategy that it's really a holistic approach to online marketing and building relationships with new prospects. And is very effective when implemented. And so we've been fortunate enough that we have, we've built a great company that's been on the Inc. 500 and 5,000 list multiple years in a row and had some best-selling books. And, we've got currently, north of 2,500 customers currently using our product. So essentially we're a software business. And what our software does is it essentially allows people to automate most of the heavy lifting to implement this methodology that we teach. And so we have businesses that we serve from, you really name it in terms of the industry and the size of companies, but it's, consultants, coaches, experts of any sort, IT companies, professional services firms like CPAs, insurance agents, financial advisors. We've got old school companies like, that are in woodworking and different types of manufacturing and, real estate. So really across the board of the kinds of people that we're helping and really making a difference for a lot of people. And our philosophy is that a lot of small businesses are on, you've heard the term the cash flow roller coaster. A lot of people are going through this cycle of ups and downs because they don't have a predictable process for bringing new prospects and clients in the door. And bigger companies solve that problem. They don't really fall asleep at night worrying about, where's my next customer going to come from, because they've got systems in place that are constantly bringing new business into the door. Small businesses almost across the board don't have that. And so we believe that problem can be solved if you've got the right system in place. And we think ours is a great way of doing that. And we're out there to help as many small businesses as we can to do exactly that. Because I come from a small business family, and I saw firsthand what can happen when you have to turn the lights out, and it's not fun. No. Twice I've been a part of businesses that didn't make it because they ran out of business. I didn't have enough new work coming through the door. And so I'm really passionate about helping people solve that problem.
Well, that's really fascinating. I mean, and quite the diversity in who you guys serve, all the way from larger nationwide businesses to smaller, local mom and pop kind of businesses and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what was, for what, how long have you guys been doing this, Josh?
Well, I started my business, I stopped working for another company in late 2009, went all in on working for myself in early 2010, went through a couple different iterations of trying a few different things. And first started a company called Linked Selling in 2012, which is when things really took off for me. And that was a marketing agency, essentially doing what we now do as a software business. But Linked Selling was really an agency implementing the solution for big companies that have big budgets. Okay. My business partner, Ben, now is the owner and CEO of that company, and I'm not really involved in it anymore. And it was in 2017. So we're going back, what, 5 years,
Mhm.
5 years ago,
Mhm.
that we started building this software solution to help more people, really because we saw that there was a need in the market that, smaller companies need to fix this problem too. They
Yep.
don't have the money though to hire agencies to implement these kinds of things for them. And we thought, what if we could build a solution that would be affordable for everybody?
Wow.
And that's what we started doing about 5 years ago. And that's what my focus is now.
That is awesome. That is awesome. You just kind of found a hole in the market, found a need that nobody was like really filling that spot, and you guys were able to just step right in and really help a lot of folks out. That is awesome. That is awesome. All right. So what I'd like to, now that we kind of got a little bit of context set here, we'll shift gears, and I'm going to reiterate the question for the benefit of all the listeners. Have you ever been introduced to a person that completely changed the course of your life or your business, so much so that much of what you have today would not be possible if not for this person? And Josh, I'm just really excited to hear your story, your experience around this, as well as give you the opportunity to honor somebody who's had such a profound impact on your life and on your business.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I've had some time to think about the question, of course, and there's a number of people that I could have mentioned. The guy that owned the company that I worked for before starting my company, his name was Bill Krogan, and I don't know, without the opportunities that he gave me in that company, I don't know if I would have had the confidence and platform to start my own business after I had left that company, and so I certainly owe a lot to him. But more specifically, I wanted to share a story about a mentor of mine, Bill Pranat, who is somebody who I was really close with and who really helped me a lot in my first couple of years in business. And Bill he's a consultant / coach. He works with a lot of family-owned businesses. He's out of St. Louis, which is where I'm from. And he, for some reason, I don't know if he saw something in me, if he just liked me, I don't know. But he one day, we were part of a group together, kind of a business networking group, if you will. And so we got to know each other there, and we're doing some, networking and stuff. And he asked me one day, and first off, Bill is very experienced business person. He's many years my senior. He has seen and done it all. Very successful guy. And he asked me one day, how much time are you taking to really sit down and just think about where you're trying to go with your business? So at the time, I was working as an outsourced CFO. Because when I started working for myself in 2010, that I came from a background of being a CFO for a small business, a construction company that I was working for. And so I thought, well, I could get some businesses in St. Louis to, give me a couple $1,000s a month to help with their spreadsheets and finances and stuff. And then, I can make a decent income doing that. And so I was just kind of focused for my first year or so on just having a handful of clients and doing work for them.
Mm-hmm.
And, Bill really challenged me to think about, what am I really trying to do here? And he saw at the time, like, I was dabbling in some different things. As I mentioned, in the early years, my business went through a few different iterations as I was trying to figure out, what do I really want to do? And he essentially said, you know what, I want to work with you. You don't have to pay me or anything, but let's just like get together maybe once a month or so and talk through about what you're doing and where you're going with your business. And I wasn't doing that myself. I was just like working, and trying to stay busy and trying to get clients to pay me a couple $1,000s a month, and make a decent income. And I had to take him up on that offer, because it was like, what an opportunity to, get this second set of eyes on what I'm doing from him. And that forced me to start thinking about, where do I want to go with my business? And he gave me a piece of advice that I ran with. And he said, what I want you to do is, once a week, I want you to carve out an hour or so of time, go to a coffee shop or something. And I don't want you working on client work or marketing and sales stuff for your business. I just want you to think about, where are you going with this business, and what does the future look like, and what might the plan look like to carry you forward in that direction? And I wasn't doing any of those things. And I swear the first time I went to that coffee shop and spent that time by myself trying to answer some of those questions, it was like a turning point for me in my business. At the time I was working for myself out of my house, very proud of that,
Mhm.
you know, because, you know, it's like, it's not always easy to do your own thing, you know, so I was proud that I was making a go of it, but it was just me. I wasn't, you know, I hadn't created a company really at that point yet, or anything bigger. And I kind of wanted to, and thought that, well, if other people are doing it, you know, maybe I can too. And so really spending that time and thinking through where I want to go with things allowed me to kind of envision a much different type of business that would be built around really an online marketing framework that would allow me to not just be trading my time for money anymore to one-on-one clients. You know, and I started thinking about how can I build some online programs so that I can attract more customers and, you know, make some money that isn't tied to me spending time with people, right? So, and that was what led me to start thinking through the creation of my first online course. What I really quickly realized in planning that out is that not many people want an online course about how to do their finances. Because at the time I was working as this outsourced CFO.
Mhm. Mhm.
Around that same time though, because I was using LinkedIn to grow that business, I started getting asked by some of my finance clients if I would help them do on LinkedIn what I was doing for my own business.
Ah, ah.
And so then through spending this time of just going to the coffee shop and thinking through of what do I want to do with my business? What's my plan look like for the next 1 to 3 years? You know, I was looking at some of the different things I was doing. By this point, I had the CFO business was paying most of my bills, but now all of a sudden I had a couple clients that were paying me to implement this LinkedIn marketing process for them. I had some real estate stuff going on that, you know, I was making some money, but I wasn't very passionate about that. And really though, by the time I kind of mapped out what would a course look like so that I could, you know, because I had really been going around town really marketing myself as like an outsourced CFO, you know,
Mhm.
so naturally at that time I was thinking I'm gonna build an online course that can help people with their finances. So there's people that probably don't want to spend $2,000 a month to have me come in and do it for them. So maybe I could have a course to teach them how to do it themselves.
Mhm.
I quickly realized, like I said a minute ago, nobody wants to buy a course on how to do finances. People want to invest in things that are going to help them grow.
Mhm.
There's the market for people who want to learn how to count their beans better is so much smaller than the
Yeah,
market
yeah.
of people who want to figure out how to get more beans.
Uh-huh.
You know,
That's a
and
really good analogy right there, Josh.
yeah. So I fortunately I realized that before I went ahead with building a course about finances, but it was through thinking through all these things about what could this business look like that then really was able to look at the LinkedIn business that I had started and say, well, I can apply that here. And I think that would really be successful. And then fast forward like a year later, my company, you know, I went from being like, you know, I was doing maybe 100,000 a year in income. And then a year later, I was at like 300,000 or 400,000,
Mhm.
you know,
Big
by
jump.
taking the time to go to the coffee shop, think through what am I doing? What am I doing with this business? What do I want this to look like? And really taking the time to, because sometimes like, and I still get this way. Sometimes we're just like looking at what's right in front of us,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, and we don't take time to look up at the sky, you know, and we go all day long just running the rat race without thinking about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
being forced to do that was a huge thing for me. And I, you know, I always am grateful for Bill Purnett taking the time to work with me when, you know, I didn't have anything. He didn't do it for any other reason than just to help, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's
Wow.
he's the one guy that really comes to mind for me.
Well, and I want to acknowledge you even for just, you know, when he made that offer, because I will tell you, I have in the past, now this never happens now because I've gotten way better at receiving now, but in the past, when people have made offers of assistance or whatever, I have declined in the past. Oh, I don't want to bother them, or they're probably not really serious. They don't
Yeah.
really mean it, whatever the BS that we tell ourselves. But kudos to you that you took him up on that offer.
Yeah.
And so what are some, now you've got this whole business now. It's completely different than
Yeah.
what you were even doing when you met Bill and had this conversation with him. And you shared a little bit about what that business. What are just one or two of the biggest things that have come, for you personally as a result of this relationship with Bill? I mean, sure, growing your business and all that, but maybe from a satisfaction standpoint as well. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what are just one or two big things that have come from this relationship with Bill?
Well, I don't, it's hard for me to know, had he not taken the time to sit down with me and give me some of this guidance to do some of these things, like, would I have, maybe I wouldn't have formulated this plan and that sent me down this path that has led to our company, being really successful.
Yeah.
A level of success that was far beyond what I ever envisioned. I mean, before I started working with Bill, I remember there was a time where I had a spreadsheet that I had put together of how I thought I could get to making $200,000 a year.
Okay.
And I mean, for me at the time, that was a lot of money.
You
And
bet.
it's still, to anybody, a great amount of money today. It
Yep.
is. But, fast forward a few years from that point, and our company's doing millions a year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's had a profound financial impact on me, like the impact that it's had personally on that level has been greater than anything I ever anticipated, and at the same time, we've created a company with, before, when we had linked selling too, now I'm just running the software company, but, we've had, at any point in time, anywhere from 50 to 100 employees. And now, like, one of the things I'm really proud of now is that we have, like, almost never does anyone leave our company.
Wow.
And, I think we've created a unique culture and a place that people really like to work for and feel respected. And so, and that translates to people pretty much never leaving,
Yeah.
and so, those are some of the things that I'm proud of. Yeah, that's it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you, the goal of this podcast has always been twofold. First, to give people like yourself the opportunity to share your story, your experience around this, and then the listener, I want to just motivate and inspire them to place an intentional focus on creating more real, meaningful, rewarding, and profitable relationships in their lives. Because, like you mentioned, there's a number of people that you could talk about. Today, we focused on Bill, but this is just one relationship. And look at what has come from that. And, how many lives have been impacted as a result of the relationship that you and Bill have had. And so, I just want to acknowledge that as well, Josh. And for anybody listening to this is like, man, Kev, I really like Josh. I like the way he shows up. Man, I'm curious about, what they do. How can they find out more about what you guys do, Josh?
Well, you can go to connect365.io and learn more about our company there, or you can look me up on LinkedIn as well. Any of that stuff will be great.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Josh, thanks again for taking the time to have this conversation today. I really appreciate it, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. I appreciate it too.
You bet.